p2764 or 2763. Today we are going to try the Dorman 926-408 lockup solenoid, just the solenoid. So if you go to Subaru, typically they are going to sell you the entire valve body for the transmission, which I have done several of those and it does fix it. So today we're going to try doing this because this is way cheaper. Start off 2/8. Get the intake out of the way. Got some oil there on the intake. Now, I've already taken the cover off because I've already been in here to diagnose it. And basically, so I can't zoom in with my phone since I'm doing a live stream, but there is a connector down here. The lockup solenoid is typically the one that always goes bad. And with that being said, right here is a connector. If you have some back pins, you can actually back pin this connector and check the resistance. So you should do it when it's cold. Back pin at the white wire to ground when this is a 2015 and check the resistance. You should get 13 ohms. If you get 12 and a half, 13 and a half, probably okay. In this case, we had 1.3 ohms, so we know that solenoid is faulty. So now we got to get everything out of here. And to make my life more comfortable, I am going to lift the car up a bit. Hey guys. Make my life a little more comfy. And since this thing is going to, it's a 2015 Subaru Legacy, doing a solenoid that is in the valve body. The valve body is on top of the transmission for this car, so I'm going to be removing the valve body and putting a solenoid inside of the valve body. Another thing, when you go to take this valve body out, it will make a mess. So towels, rags, mats, something, put it down. It's gonna make a big old mess. All right, got a 10 on the ground wire. Get that guy out of your way. Get these connectors here. Disconnect those, and probably going to just go ahead and remove that harness and pinch the tabs in on these guys, keep them from breaking. Hold a pair of pliers, pinch the tabs in, pull it, there we go. Alright, disconnect both connectors, lay that harness back. There's a 10 on this guy. Go ahead, move that to the side. Then there's a tab over here for this harness. Also, we're going to take the TCM off of here. Two 10s on the TCM. One there, one there. should release the TCM. Oh, unless I'm missing one. Oh, one more, sorry, 3. Alright, there's the TCM. Move that off to the side. There is another one of these little plastic tabs that holds the harness back here. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. There we go. Alright, now that's going to allow us to move everything over to the side. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and unplug it. At this point, wouldn't be a bad idea to disconnect the battery. But if you do that though, if you do decide to disconnect the battery, then with Subarus, you should start it up and let it run for about 10 to 20 minutes without hitting the gas. Just let it idle. It's going to help it relearn its idle values. So, next, get this vent line out of the way, off to the side. Also, these valve body caps here, they can be a bit of a booger to get off. Alright, so now, transmission harness, pull it to the side, let it hang out. There we go. So, we are not too far off. There is a little mount here that gives the transmission this tab is and stuff. We're going to have to get that off. So, I believe that's a 14. Let's see. Yep, 14. 14. So, we can do swivel. There we go. Yeah. One bolt. Second bolt. Nice. It's not letting things fly under the engine. The intake. So, this will get this bracket out of the way. There we go. And we'll just take this and zip this out. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Subarus. They're okay. As long as you take care of them. No one takes care of them though. Most people don't take care of their cars in general. They don't change their oil on time. Some people never change the transmission fluid. They don't do brake flushes. They don't do their engine air filters when they're supposed to. And this is what leads to things like this. So, stay on top of maintenance, everybody. Yes, Subaru Legacy. Okay, so now we're about to take the top off of the valve body. So we have the harness here, which goes in over here. Now we have a bunch of 10s all the way around. But before we do that, here's my recommendation. We want to keep things as clean as possible, so get some brake clean and go around where the valve body is. Just give it a little cleaning. That way we're going to keep junk from going down inside the transmission when we pull it off. This might be a little over the top for some of you all, but this is also a family member's car, and I want their car to be in the best shape as possible. And then when you're done, take a little shop air and blow it all off. That can's dead. Promise, this is going to get a little more exciting here very shortly. Get all the tins out. There's a couple that can't really get the electric ratchet. Just have to get a regular ratchet. Now there's little dowel pins on the front, right there. There's another one in the back somewhere. Anyway, that's where they get stuck and they don't want to come off. So if this one doesn't come off, I'll show you a little trick. Because you also don't want to break that cover. So make sure all your bolts are out. A little bit of my dowel. A little bit of WD-40 on that dowel. And find out where the other one's at. Alright, let's see the other ones, that's good. But anyway, here's what I did. Oh, nice. That one came right. Came loose. That's really nice. So, still gotta get it off the dowel right there, but I believe probably do this number right here. Yep. Work your way down. And also seesaw it back and forth a bit. Try and get it loose off of that dowel. There it goes. It's coming. Come on. There it goes. Now the cover off. Now there's a connector under here. We have to disconnect right there. And that'll allow us to get this off. So at this point, since we're inside the valve body, I like to get some fresh gloves. Where's the leak? There's no leak. Yeah, out of all cars, Subarus are probably the easiest to work on. Very simple. There's not much to them. But you get into some of the German cars and, well, actually, they're not that bad either. It seems like the Korean and Japanese car companies, they don't like to pay you any hours to work on them, so those get kind of crappy. All right. But yes, engineers do not think of mechanics when they are designing cars a lot of times, it seems like. So now under here, there's a connector that has to be disconnected before we pull the cover off, which also makes it kind of difficult to get to. Alright. So, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a connector right here you have to disconnect. See how the cab disengages. So what I'm doing right now is I'm checking the locking tab on the connector to see how it disengages as I pull it apart. So it goes down. So take this, push, tab down. And disconnect it. There we go. Now, with that disconnected, quickly get it out of the way. This is where you have to place the car catchers. So what I might end up doing, with that all taped up. So I guess stuff the harness and another starter. That's what we're gonna do. And then stuff this. Everybody starter. They have that harness all taped up for some reason back there. And then maybe I can rotate this up enough to get it up and out of the way. Yeah, there we go. I feel like they might have changed some things on the slightly newer Subarus. I don't remember it being this difficult to get all this stuff out of the way. There we go. So there's the valve body. All right, so I have to get the valve body out. I believe it is only the, I gotta look up the repair instructions. I'll be right back. All right. So now, got what I need. What you don't want to do is take the wrong bolts out of the valve body. Also, I was reading, apparently you can pull the transmission harness out of this cap. So let's see if that's true. It says remove the transmission harness. Think it'll come through here? Oh, it does. No way. I didn't think it was going to fit. There we go. So now tuck the harness. Make sure you clean that off before you put it back in. Alright, so now there's a diagram of which bolts to loosen. Alright. So we got this row. And apparently that's all of them. So now, this is a good time to take a picture of where everything goes, or lay them out the way that they come out. So there are 2 silver bolts. We're going to lay these out. Front to back. Then there are these 3. They're all the same length. Those go down the middle. We have 2 on the sides, same length as well. All the same length. So, as long as you keep them all, or just separate the silver and the black bolts. All right, now the interesting part. We're gonna get the valve bottom out of there. That's a oil absorbing mat. It's going to help keep the mess down. And also, whenever you're done, you gotta make sure to put some transmission fluid back inside of here. I don't know what the right answer is yet while getting this out, but looks like this is the right answer, maybe? Maybe not. Matt, hurry up. Ugh. There are also two O-rings down inside of the transmission. So here's the diagram that you're going to need. Torque specification is 9 Newton meters. There's the bolts you need to take out. And basically, you should also get 2 new O-rings to put down inside of here. There's an O-ring here and here. It should be replaced. So, get those. Next thing we're going to do is go over to the workbench, and you can actually see what I'm replacing now. So, there is all the solenoids. Now, I know the one with the white wire is the one that was giving me a problem, but with that being said, I don't know which, once the harness passes through the cover here, the wire colors change. So, Dorman probably also doesn't give you a diagram. Or maybe they do. Let's see. They give you a QR code for the removal instructions. Well, isn't that cool? So I do know this. There is a plate, and the plate is what holds all the solenoids in. So first off, what I'm gonna have to do is I need to get that plate out of there and get the harness routed out of here a bit. What we don't want to do is break anything, because this is one big plate. Yeah. So we'll get all those bolts loosened up. Now, my advice is to lay these bolts out the way they came out. So, that is your locking tab for your harness. Set that there. Be careful not to pinch wires. Ooh. And if you drop bolts, I should clean them up. So, it's gonna go over here. This one has a nut on the bottom. Okay. This one does too. Hopefully. Alright, we got a whole bunch of other bolts on the other side holding this in. Alright, we're just going to point them out then. Do this. Come on. It's a little slippery. Now what you could do is you could trace the harness, figure out which one it is, but since Dorman gives us these instructions, I don't know. Do I trust him or do I not? Ooh, let's not do that. All right, this one's being stubborn, guys and girls. There we go. And we got one more, looks like. Fingers there. All right, there's the solenoid plate that holds them. If I can get, all right, so that guy loosens up. There we go. Just like that. Cool. Now I have to figure out which solenoid to remove. Okay, I gotta go figure that out, so I'll be right back. So I did figure out, looking at the harness, we're gonna double check this. So I'm gonna check Dorman. I'm also going to check the harness to the solenoid to verify they got the right one. Yeah. So one of these should read. No, well, we can't even get to them. can't get to the pins, so that's fine. Let's go back to the connector here. All right, so looking at the other connector, it should be actually, it's not going to matter because I can't back pin the solenoids. So, all right, back to square one. Let me get a double check. All right, so the solenoid that we were replacing is the one all the way on the end. All right, so it's going to be this one right here. So go ahead and pull that out. This should be our faulty solenoid, which we are going to double check once I get it unplugged here. This plastic cap here should pry off somehow. These are all not good sounds. There's that. There we go. There it is. So now I want to verify that that's the faulty solenoid. Take my multimeter, and it should be around 1.5 ohms. It's supposed to be 13. It could change a bit more because now it's pulled off. We're checking at the solenoid instead of through the harness. So let's just see what it says. So we're at 14. Spec is 13. So it's also cooled off, so it should be perfect right now. Once it got hot, that was when it started acting up. So we have our new solenoid here. Oh, that's super sketchy. Okay, so we got our green. Green. Gray. We have our plastic cap. So I'm assuming these wires, no, it must go on the outside. Nothing clicked. That's that Dorman quality that we all expect. Okay. The broken pieces. Alright. Lube the O-ring up a bit. Alright, pop it in there, and there we go. Don't remember exactly where that is. Hey you guys, check that out. Good Subaru quality. Freaking junk. So those are grounds. So now I gotta fix that. Cool. Alright, so anyway, basically you put this back together. Torque specs are probably going to be the same as what it is to install it, so 9 Newton meters. Do the reverse, add some silicone to your pan, and top it off with about a half a quart of transmission fluid or so. And make sure you check your ground, just like I read about online. It's probably going to break, because, well, Subaru. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hope you all have a good day.